So yesterday we left on with the entire series, but as we know, pandas has the data structure three parts, divided the data structure in three parts. It is data frames, series, and panel. So today yesterday we have completed the series, and now today we'll complete with the data frames. So now data frames is something like you can say an Excel sheet where you have rows, columns, numbers. So over here in the data frames, it's similar to the series. In the series, whatever output we are getting in a single line. That is multiple rows but a single column. Okay. But in data frames, the transformation is something like they will get multiple rows as well as multiple columns. So this is what the transformation is there in the data frames. So I will just make a new file over here, and we'll start on. So you just understand the things. First of all, what is this? We have size mutable. Size mutable, that means we can change the column size. We can add rows in the same data frame. We can add columns in the same data frames. We can change up the numbers. So the size is mutable. It is labeled with column names and indexed with the row names. Previously in series, we were indexing only with a row, but we didn't have any column name. But over here, we have a column name. Okay. So you can just imagine it something like a sheet that is your Excel sheets. It will be something like that. So let us start. We will have data frame, and inside data frame, first of all, we'll write the syntax of it. That is pandas dot data frame, D capital, F capital, data frame, and inside that we'll pass on data. We had passed it previously also. We will pass on index, that is also there in series. We will pass data type, that is D type, and we will pass a copy. We can pass it actually, but over here we'll include another field, and that is column. A new field has been included over here, and that is column. Sorry, and this is the new field that is considered in the data frames. Now, moving forward with this, you know what is data over here symbolized as? Data is something like all the data, the name, the roll number, everything considered in a data frame is the data. Now, index will be the row numbers, and column will be the name of the columns. Okay. And data type, if you want to change, you can change the data type. It can be float, it can be int, as per your requirement. So let us start with just a simple creating the empty data frame. Now, before creating the empty data frame, I would like to tell you that what all data can these data frame can take in. So type of data. So type of data consists of lists. Previously in your sequences, we had only few sorry, not sequences, in series, we had only few type of data, that is array, and it consists of dictionary, it consists of normal samples, or you can say numbers. So this was the numbers over there. But over here, there are multiple type of data like list. We also have dictionaries. Then we have, we can say, series directly, means the series that we were making in the previous uh, session. Today we could use it as a data frame also. Okay. Now the fourth is, you can say, arrays, or you can say ND array, n dimensional array. You can say this. Now the fifth one, you can say another data frame into a data frame. Another data frame. Okay. So one by one, we will go with each and every topics. And then after that, after completing these topics, we will go for addition, subtraction of rows, deletion of rows, adding of new data frame into the existing data frame, appending it, so many other things to be done. So first of all, we'll start with list, or else we'll start with, first of all, creating an empty frame. Now, creating an empty data frame. Now, over here, how we'll create? We'll just import pandas. So let me import it at the top so that it's uh yeah, I don't know, data frame. Yeah, so we'll just cut it from here and we'll write import pandas as PD. So this is done. So we have imported panda as PD, and now we'll use it like if you are making data, or you can say data frame, anything, df equals to PD dot, then it will be consisting of data frame, data frame, and inside that it will be blank if you are consisting of a empty data frame, and then it will just print it off, and that's it. So if you execute this, session 4, and inside that we will have day 2.5. If we execute it, you will find that what type of data are we getting in the data frame. So you can see we have empty columns, we have empty index. Now what is index? You just understand the index specifies the row naming and the column specifies the column naming. And empty data frame, this specifies the datas are empty inside this data frame. Okay, so let us now create our data frame with consisting of list, using list. So we're gonna have many examples. So first of all, let us name it as one, and that is list. And inside it, we'll have the example one. Now over here, first of all, what we'll do, we'll just create a list and we'll input it to a data frame. The first example and the simplest example all of the time. So we'll create a data equals to near the list, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the list, and we'll create it in data frame. This is the simplest method, you know this. df equals to pd dot data frame, and inside that will pass on the data. That's it. So we haven't defined the index over here as this. We have only defined the data right over like this. We haven't defined the index. So by default, the index will be starting from 0 and ending till length minus 1. That is the length minus 1 of the list. And we haven't defined it, the column, and data type will be predefined. That is int64, and copy is not required for us now. So let us print this and find it out what is the output of this. Okay, so here we go, and we will get the output. It's taking a little processing time. Okay, so here we got the output. You can see the column number. This is the column number. You can see over here, this is the column number. By default, this is the column number. And these are the row numbers 0, 1, 2, 3. And here is our data 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is similar to the series, but in series and this data frame concept, there is only one difference. We have column over here in the first example. In the series, we never had the column numbers or column names. Over here, we are defining the rows, the columns with a column number. Okay, by default, it starts from 0 and ends till column minus 1. Okay, so this is how we do this. Now if we have multiple lists, you can say, for example, let us take an example 2. Just copy this and I will paste it over here and I will comment this part. Yeah. In example 2, what we're going to do, we're going to take a main list, and inside that we'll have a subsequent number of lists. Like we'll have 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, maybe this. Okay. Now we'll pass on to the data. Let me take one more. Let me take one more list, and I will take any numbers. Okay, so this is done. So let us execute this now. Let the program get saved, and it is saved and we'll execute it. Okay, let us wait. Okay, see, you can see over here now we got multiple datas right over here. We have got multiple datas. You can see now, as in the previous one over here, let me show you. Right over here, as there was only one column, we were getting all the values in the row itself. But now what happened, when we had multiple datas, then we had created only 3 rows. You can see the number of lists, the number of rows. So there are 3 lists inside a list. So we have created 3 rows, 0, 1, 2. And each row, each list, the values are considered as column values. The first column, second column, third, fourth, fifth. Similarly, you can see over here. If we have some extra data over here, this is example 2. If we get some extra data over here, see, data frames, you can say it's much simpler than the series. If you understood the series properly, then data frames, you will find it something like, yes, you are getting this. It is not that you're not getting it, will not get it, you will get it. This is what data frames are. It will make sense to you. Now over here, if we increase the numbers, for example, in the first list, you have taken all the 3 lists uniform. Now we will be not taking the list uniform, we will just changing the list numbers. Like we have taken an extra over here, and we will be taking maybe 2 extras over here. We are taking 2 extras over here. Now if we execute this code, and let us see what is the output. You will find that we are getting the extra numbers right over here and right over here, but the numbers which are not available in other lists are given as none. Now what is none? It represents not a number. It represents similarly not a number, so there is no other numbers present at this particular locations, and the numbers that are present are shown over here. So did you understood this? Just let me know in the comment section. Yes, very good. So now we'll move a step ahead and we'll go with the second part, and that is index. You can say, or else before jumping to index, we must jump to the column because it's a new part. So we'll jump to the column first, naming the columns. So let me copy this and comment this. And we will go for example 4. We have a lot of things to be learned in this data frames. So I don't think so that today we will ever try reach 50% also of the data frames, or maybe we can reach only 50% of it. Let us see how much can we complete. Okay, so now the data are the same. We have taken the same amount of data over here, but now we'll manipulate the columns. Now, how to manipulate the columns? We have almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns. So we can do one thing. We can name those 7 columns right over here. Like we are naming those columns as columns. And inside that we'll provide a list, and inside that we'll write the name. For example, the first column is age, the second column is maybe number, if we are providing only 2 columns, let us see what happens. If you're not giving the appropriate number of columns, then what happens? It throws an error. Okay, so it throws an error. This is because the columns should be named according to the number of columns. But if the numbers are not named, means data, there is some missing data, it will throw you none. But when it comes to the changing the column numbers, you are just redesigning the renaming the columns, right? So when it is coming the naming of the columns, then you cannot change only individual columns or 2, 3 columns. You need to make the naming for each and every columns that you're using. So we'll just reduce some data to take less time. Okay, so we have all in total 5 columns. So we'll name this. Maybe next is A, B, and C. I don't get a name, so I named it A, B, C. So let us execute this code. And I was very proud to see you that many of you were finishing a task and few of you were sending me the task personally, and that was a great thing because I got to see the result of it. And you uh, only I got only one of you that has already completed the task and made it so beautiful. Means she has done it with so perfection that if you can enter any name, it will directly change the spacings and all, and everything will be judged. It was perfect, designed by her. So now if you see it, so we have named the columns. You can see we have executed it and we have named the columns: age, number, A, B, C, everything. So we have named it, but we haven't changed the index values. So this is on us that how we can name the columns and we can do it accordingly. So this is the thing. Now, if you want to change, for example, I want to change the type, data type as float, because I don't want these numbers. I want the data types as float. So let us take another example for it. And let us comment this. Example 5. Now over here, we'll change the D type. D type, and the D type is maybe float. We are changing the D type to float, and let us execute this. So the system is taking this time, and you can see now previously the numbers were in a number format, but now the numbers have changed to float. So this is how we can convert the data as per the type. This is the data type. Okay. So now if you want to see that how we can play with the index, so similarly you can do with the index also. You can pass on the values of the index, like if you want to pass right over here, index equals to, and then a list, and then we have 3 rows. So let it be uh, R1, maybe the first index. Then let us take R2, and then let us take R3. So these are the 3 index that we are taking over here, and we'll just execute this code. Okay, let us see, wait. And you can see we have manipulated the index to R1, R2, R3. So this is how we can manipulate column numbers. Column. Now you will be, we can see to it that it is similar to the sheets or the Excel sheets that we do. And we can extract data, execute data in the same manner, little bit. So it resembles the same thing actually. Now if we go forward and take the shift like we were doing with the list, and now we'll shift it to arrays, for example. So let us shift to dict of arrays. Now the second is dict using dictionary. So over here we'll take an example, first example. And over here we're gonna have an example like let us take an dictionary first of all. Hmm, df equals to pd dot data frame, and inside that will pass on the data. And in the above we want to create the data, so let data equals to, now we'll take a dictionary, and inside the dictionary we'll pass on the key. The first key may be name, and inside this will have a value. For example, the value is Amar. Now we're gonna have the second key. The second key may be your age, age, and the second age may be 24, or else it could be an integer type 24. This is okay. Now this resembles the heterogeneous type of data, heterogeneous type of column. I told you each column could be changed, but in series this was not possible because there was only one column. So let us print this and let us see what happens. It throws an error. If using all scalar values, you must pass an index. Okay, maybe we made a mistake over here in not passing the index. Let us see. Yeah, we got the value. So it was that mandatory over here to pass on the index, but I don't know, it shouldn't have taken this. As if you take a bulk of data, it shouldn't have asked you this index, but no problem. As per the MinGW compiler, these things happens. So over here, you can see we got the name and age, the keys over here. The keys over here as the column heads and the values as the row. Okay. So if you have the multiple, for example, we take a list inside this value, and inside this we create multiple number of things like Amar, then we have Teckat, then we have Anthony, all the things. Now in age also we'll consider a list. Okay, if we don't consider a list in the age, then what happens? Let us see. I believe now we won't, if we don't give this, then it will work because there are multiple datas inside a list, and it should have taken, yeah, as I was right. It has taken the number of datas over here because the list already has its index values predefined. So it is taking the index value by default, but directly if you are doing it, is not taking a by default index value. So over here you can see 0, 1, 2, and all the ages become common over here. Now, if you don't put a scalar value over here, rather you put a number, when it's a list, maybe two lists over here, two elements in a list, and now there are three requirements, but there are two. So let us see what happens. So the program has been saved, and now we'll execute it. It will throw you an error. So at this condition, you can see that it's not giving you a none, it's throwing you an error. So it's mandatory to give it all the requirements right over here, and then we can execute this. So it will give you the data. You can see we are getting the data, everything correctly. Age, everything is there in age, means first 0th position of name goes with 0th position of age at the 0th position row. You can see similarly the 0th position, first position of name goes with the first position of age at the first position row. You can see. So this is how it is done, right, in dictionaries. So if you go with the second example, you can, if you want to name the index values, then you can do this similarly right over here. So I will just copy this and comment this. So we'll just put an index and we'll just put uh, the values like R1, comma, R2, comma, R3. We have 3 rows all in total. So we have named the rows and now we'll just execute this. And you will find that we are naming the rows. So over here in this dictionary also we have the same procedures to name it and execute this. Now, if we wanna do something different, like we'll just take from list we can take the dicts. Okay. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna just take a list and we'll store dictionaries inside that list. And now let us see what happens. So we'll just name the thing actually because it is a little different from this. So, okay, this is example number 2, and let us come in this. So we can name it as data frames from list of dict. Now, what does this mean? There is a list which consists of several dicts. Okay, dictionaries. Now, let us take the first example of this. Did we mention this above? Lex dictionaries, but we haven't mentioned a combo. Okay, so this is a combo type of thing, you can say. An experiment, you can say in that purpose also. So let us take the data first. So let the data be a list, and inside that there are multiple dictionaries. Okay, let the first dictionary be A, then we can have 1, then we can have B, we can have 2. Let us take another dictionary, and inside that the keys values should be same, or else it will take another column A, and then put a colon and then put 50. If you leave it over here, if you don't have any other values inside it, over here it won't take much because we are not giving a blank key. We have a key, but we haven't defined the value into that key in the next dictionary. So what will happen? It will throw you a none in place of the values. The values could be compromised, but the keys and the row index will not be compromised. We cannot compromise with it. So let us take 3 values over here. A, 50. Okay, not 50. Let us take 34. Then we can have B as 60, and then we can have C, a new value, 54. Okay, so this is done. That's telling me, okay, that we have to use an if equals to. Now it is done. So what we need to do next is, it's still showing an invalid syntax, but I don't feel anything wrong in the syntax. Maybe it's an issue of saving the data. So let us continue. So if we call for a df, so we'll just take a data frame, and now we'll have pd dot data frame, and inside that we're going to pass on the data. If you want to pass on the index values, you can do the same. If you don't want to pass, then you can leave it as the default. So let us save this. It's still showing an invalid index, invalid syntax, but I don't feel anything invalid into it. So let us execute it, then only we can get it. Okay, it's something wrong. Something gonna be wrong over here. Okay, I got the mistake. Here is the mistake. I used a comma instead of colon, and now it will work fine. So here you can find that we have used A and B in the first dictionary. So the keys are A and B and the values are over here, but we have used a C in the third dictionary. So the key is created, but as we don't have the value of C in the first dictionary, so it is throwing you a none. Since we have only one value in the second dictionary, A, with the key name A, so we have displayed it to the key name A, but all the other two values are none, and we have three values in second row, and so we have, you can say that all the values are displayed. So did you understood this? Just let me know in the comment section. Yes, very good. So now we're going to go for the second example, and you can tell it that we can name this as index, index one, you can tell. So we'll just copy this and name the index also, because we will see that if the index over here is working fine or not. So we'll just take the index and maybe we'll name it as the same R1 and R2. So let us see if this works with all the things, because checking it is very important with the things. So we will just execute this code and we'll see if this works well. Okay, it throws an error. Sorry, are we using three rows? Shape of past value is 3 comma 3. Indices imply 2 comma 3. Okay, I believe we have generated three rows. So we'll have R3 and then we'll save this code and we'll execute this. Yeah, we got the data. We got all the data over here. This is the third row, this is the second row, and this is the first row. They have named it as R1, R2, R3. It's working fine with this concept also. Now we'll go and shift the concept to the next concept, and that is we will just taking a data frame from dictionary of series. Okay, now we have come to the third part. This is series. We'll combine this series fact into it, and let us just comment this series. And inside that we'll have the example one. Now inside this we can have like d equals to, let us take the data, or else data equals to, we'll create a series of data in the dictionary. So let us take the first series as 1. This is the key is 1. And then inside this we'll pass on a series. So we'll call it as pd.series. And inside that we're going to pass on the data like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the data. Similarly, we'll take another key, that is, let us be 2, and inside that we'll pass again a series, pd.series, and inside that we'll pass on again a list of data, let it be any data that we want to consider it. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 type of 5 data into it. Now, if you want to execute this now, just let us execute this. Data frame equals to pd dot data frame, and inside this we'll pass on data, and let us print df. So let us execute this, and you can see we are getting the data 1, 2, 3, 4. This is one series and the key value 1. You can see over here we have created the series, and in 2 we have created another series of the data, and this is the data. Now if you want to change the index, now over here you can have the means there are two type of methods. One you can do directly from here, like if you want to do index, and if you want to create like a 1 2 3 4 5, this is the index values that you have created, and if we execute this, let us see what happens. So you can see we have created this data over here, right? But if you think there's some less or more data, then this index numbers will get failure, like we'll have none. And there is one more method of creating data as per our requirement, and that is directly inside this. Inside the series, we can directly put the index values. For example, we can put the index values right over here, and we can put the index values right over here. Now, I will tell you what is the benefit of this. You can see we are getting the same type of data. Okay. Now, for example, you remove 45 and you want to place 5 at the 5th position. So you remove 4 over here. So what will happen now? The 5 value will go to the 5th position, 5th row. If you execute this, you will find that there are all the values, and now in between there is one data that is missing, that is not. You can place it as per your requirement. For example, you want to place 1 at the 2nd position, so you're going to change the position over here. You're going to place 3 at the 1st position, and you're going to place 2 at the 3rd position. So you can make changes according to your requirement in the series part, and it will change accordingly. You can see now we have placed 1 at the 2nd position, you have placed 3 at the 1st position, and you have placed 2 at the 3rd position. So these are the changes that you can make, and this is the benefit of using a series inside a data frame. So did you understood this concept? Just let me know in the comment section. Okay, so I believe we will not go further of this, because going further is a different concept. Now it comes to selection of the columns. We have completed till this series, and now it will come to the selection of columns. It will come to the selection of arrays. Now how to play with the arrays and add another data frame, appending, and many other things. So this we won't continue in this session, as it will take a huge burden of today itself. Okay, so we'll continue this part for the next session. Now, I would love to know if you have any doubt regarding previous sessions or your task. Now, first question is mine, that how many of you have completed the first task, the second task that I gave you? That is text on image. Just let me know in the comment section if you have completed the second task, that is text on image.